The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of Take Shape for Life health coaches or clients. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to healthy living and weight loss will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a physician before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Take Shape for Life team.
Okay, well, good evening, good day, wherever you are listening to this. My name is Craig Blanchette, and it's my privilege and honor to host the Habits of Health call tonight. I'm going to be talking about the topic tonight is actually called struggling or fighting. And so I've got a little presentation here all set aside for you guys. And before we get into that, I want to just kind of announce a little bit of the details about how to take advantage of this call. If this is your first time joining us for the Habits of Health call, it's a special welcome to you. This call actually is for all Take Shape for Life clients, coaches, and even health professionals. So you may hear questions or comments from some or all of the above. If you don't fit in one of those categories but are simply interested in learning more about our program and how to create better health, you are warmly welcomed as well. You will also hear content on this that's geared to those not necessarily in the weight loss phase of their health journey. You might be in the weight loss phase, you might be in transition, or you might be in the ongoing kind of long-term approach or stage of your journey. And so just think about these kinds of things. The topic tonight is actually called struggle or fight. And so I think that this will actually be applicable to people no matter what phase you are. For those listening to the recording later, we're glad that you've taken the time to listen to this on podcast or through the video channel. But I would really encourage you and invite you to join us live next time and actually be part of the discussion. These Habits of Health support calls are held every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, that's 5 p.m. Pacific. And you can join those calls live by going to zoom.us/my/TSFL Habits of Health. And so again, that's zoom.us/my/TSFL Habits of Health. And so without further ado, we're going to get right into it. I'm super excited. This is a topic that really has come about for me over the last, many years since I've been thinking about what I do as a health coach. And as I've been working with people over the years, there has been an interesting aspect to the whole fighting versus struggling. And, as I've been talking to different people, they'll say, oh, I struggled this week. Or, it didn't go so well. And it seems like the things just happen in their life that they don't really have any control over. And so that's what I want to talk about tonight, is just that idea of what it means to struggle, which I think we all know that, what it means to settle, or what it looks like to fight. And so this is the topic. We're even going to talk a little bit about hard things and how you view hard things. So first off here is when we think about the word struggle, having difficulty handling or coping with was a definition that, there was a lot of definitions of struggle, but when we're talking about struggling, it's not in a good light. It's usually in a bad light. And so have difficulty handling or coping with, and we struggled with our week. Second one is settling, or to settle. And that's to begin to feel comfortable with. You just sort of allow things to happen and you settle for less than your dreams. The third one is to fight. Endeavor vigorously to win. So I want to take a second here and toss this out to the gang here. Maybe you have a time where you can resonate of a time when you struggled versus a time when you've settled versus a time when you've actually decided to fight for something. Does someone want to come off of mute and give me a little few comments as far as that goes? By the way, to unmute yourself, you go down to the bottom left corner of the window, and there's a little microphone there with a red line in it. You just click on that, and that will unmute you. You want to talk about a time when they just felt like they were in a struggling mode? How about you, Tina? You smiled at me, so I'm like, she's got something. She's just not sure she needs to share.
Oh, hi there. Yeah, I struggle every day. I was on 5-in-1 plan for a couple of months. I lost a good 20 pounds. I'd like to lose 15 more. That's my goal. Mm-hmm. But I was actually just telling a colleague and a new client today that every day is a struggle. It's I've lost 20 pounds, so my clothes fit better. I feel better than I've ever felt before. And so I'm struggling and I'm settling. I'm settling for where I'm at right now with my weight. And so, I get home, I get in the comfort zone, and I instead of having a lean and green or, a meal replacement, I eat something I shouldn't. Mm-hmm. So I know I ran today, during lunch. I took the time to run, and then it's like, well, okay, well, I can eat this. So mm-hmm. It's a struggle, settle kind of life for me right now because I'm happy. And so that's where I'm at.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
I need to fight. So you need to motivate me to fight.
Yeah. Well, we'll be talking about that for sure. Thank you for sharing what you did there. That's great. So, think about this concept. When you think about the idea of hard things in your life that are hard, do you have a propensity to think when something is hard, it's good? Or do you have a propensity to think that when something is hard, it's associated with bad? Think about that for a minute. Personally, I think that how we view hard things is going to make a huge difference to how we really address life. I personally think that hard things I've learned over my years on planet Earth, 48 now, that all hard is good. And the reason why I say that is because if I grow in some way, that's good. And now here's the thing is, I think that there's times when I grow because things are hard, and they're hard because of a stupid mistake I've made. It's still good. I think there's times when I grow and it's hard because of the good choices that I've made. So think about and this is actually really interesting, when you're, be a little bit of an observationalist, I don't even know if that's a word, and as you look at your own life and you listen to your verbiage, and you'll notice probably, now that I'm having you focus on it, that you'll say sort of in passing, but it's hard. And you'll just say that. And it's almost like, it just sort of comes out of you. Yeah, but it's hard. And my challenge to you is so it's hard. Yeah. Hard is good. So let's go into a little bit about this whole idea of the struggle. This week I struggled, just like Tina said. This week was a struggle. I was going really good, but then I struggled, And so it's kind of like you're struggling with this boulder. You're not you're not really pushing it uphill. It may be not going downhill, but you're just sort of kind of just struggling in this fight that you know, who knows if you don't make changes, what will change? I think that I've worked with some clients, and one client in particular I was speaking with today, and we just talked about the whole idea of struggling, and she'll get some of her weight up, and then she'll sort of have less pain motivating her to change, and she hasn't grasped or taken her lasso out and lassoed onto the desire of what she wants and allowed the power of desire to pull her towards it. So she's got no pain and she hasn't lassoed desire, so it can't pull. If you don't have that your desire rope around that, it's just not going to pull you toward it. And so she just kind of gets in this in-between zone, and then she goes back to struggling, pain increases, and then it starts to push her. How about this one? How about mediocrity, or how to settle? Sometimes I'll hear this: I didn't lose any weight this week, but that's okay. Have you ever said that? The scale stayed the same this week. No, but that's okay. Why do we say this? Why are we settling? Are we settling? You know, what about when we say, I don't mind the process going slow. It's okay if I lose weight slowly. Think about, why do we say that? I think it's partly because we're settling to allow life to happen to us, right? And then here's the third one: fight. I love that picture. It's like, bring it on. You know, what does it mean to fight for what we want? Think about that. What does it mean to fight for it? What if the person we're fighting is actually that voice in our head? Lydia talks about the chatter, you know, that tempting voice in our head. What does it mean? What would it look like to actually fight that voice, that chatter, that part of ourselves that wants that immediate desire and fails to have that perspective of that deeper desire? Now, what does it look like to actually fight for that next goal? I talked to a client tonight. Her name's Evie, and she said she lost 2.5 pounds this week. And she said, I stayed on my plan. I got my water in. I ate on time. She goes, boy, I had a couple of times there too that it was tough. And I said, how's that feel? She goes, it feels great. I go, you know what? You earned that feeling. That feeling is not a gift. That feeling only comes by earning it. And I said, guess what, Evie? You fought this week. And that feeling is well-deserved. You earned it. I go, how's it feel? She says, it feels great. And I said, yeah, way to go. Way to fight for you. So think about this here. As you're going through your process, you can choose to get into a constant struggle where you're just always struggling. Or maybe even there's times when you settle. You settle for mediocrity. You settle for life happening to you. Or maybe you make this mental shift in your mind where you choose to fight, right? I think that we're going to get into this next thing, but think about this other situation is we're looking for win-win situations. So when I was talking to Melissa this morning, she said that she got into a situation where a friend of hers had a relative, I think it was her father, that passed away, and so she was grieving. And she said that and Melissa's got some weight to lose yet. She's far off, maybe 80, maybe 100, I don't know, something pounds away from her goal. And she says, I went over and I was grieving with my friend, and I decided to have 2 glasses of wine, which kicked her out of Fapper. And I said, if you think about that, that was a win-lose situation that you were in, because you're grieving with your friend, and your friend got a win by you being there to console them and be part of that. But you got a loss by detouring from your decision to transform your health and to fight for those deeper desires, that stuff that you want. Ironically, she said this person died early of a health-related issue that was lifestyle-related. And she was like, she says, how ironic was it that I chose to settle in that situation? Or what about if you're at a social celebration? They win by enjoying your company and by having fun with you and all that, and you lose by giving in to the actual or perceived peer pressure of the moment to go along with the group, right? Or how about something like this, a lack of planning? They win by grabbing something quick on the way home, and your family isn't starving, but you lose by waiting too long, and you get over hungry, and then you just indulge in whatever you bought because it was easy. So think about that. Think about situations. Why should your health and your dreams and your desires have to take a loss for something else to win when you can have both? Look at win-win situations. And so this whole thing, again, I talked about hard things are good things. When we struggle, think about this one. When we're in a struggling mode, I think about the hard is controlling us. So when we choose to struggle, the hard things of life control us. When we settle, we might be postponing the hard. And when we fight, we control the hard. Think about that. When I'm in a situation where I'm fighting, it's going to be hard, but I'm the boss. I'm the boss of the hard. Are you the boss of the hard? Are you fighting for what you want? So think about that. The whole idea is you can struggle, you can settle, or you can fight. And it really just comes down to perspective as to what is it that you want? What do you want to do? And I think that if we choose to fight more often, we get really clear about that thing that we want and that thing that's out there in the future, and we choose to take the gloves off and to step up and fight. Now, one thing I want to be real clear about here is the idea that this process is a forward-thinking process. If you start using this process in reverse, you're just going to beat yourself up. Right? You'll be fighting yourself, right? And you'll be going after it and saying, oh, I have regret. I didn't do that. Oh, whatever, right? And I'm saying, let's change that thought process. This is about the next choice you're about to make. Are you going to choose to struggle with that next thing? You can't do this backwards. It's going forward. Am I going to choose to struggle when I get home from work because I've had a rough day? Am I going to choose to settle and just do the easy thing? Or am I going to come into that and say, bring it. I got some things I want to do. I've got some goals I want to do. I'm going to fight through this uncomfortableness of this process, and I'm going to go after my dreams. And then you take out, like Wonder Woman, right? She's got her magic lasso, right? So you have your desire that's kind of out in front of you. You take your magic lasso and you get it around the neck, and you let it pull. Let that desire, that thing that you want, pull you towards it. Because you can either, and I know you guys have probably heard this before, that pain of your life can only push when the pain is great. And as you start to make progress, the push goes down as you get farther away from the pain. And if you don't get out your magic lasso and get it around that desire and and tap into its pulling power, then you'll kind of stay in that in-between zone, and you'll settle or you'll struggle. And so lasso that desire and take out your gloves and fight for what you want. So that's the idea here. I'm curious to just, if you guys have some questions or some dialogue where you want to kind of think about times when you're struggling and maybe what it would look like for you to fight, right? Structural tension, somebody said in the chat window, that's exactly it. It's where you are and where you want to be, moving towards it. Pull out your dukes and you go after it. You fight for it. I know all of you know what it's like to fight. And it felt tough. It was hard. But then you got this thing you earned. And it was like, that felt great. Like, I did that thing. I earned that feeling. And to me, savor that moment. Like, celebrate. Like, yeah, I fought for that. So who wants to jump in here? We've got 9 luxurious minutes to knock this ball around a little bit and talk about struggling, settling, or fighting. Who wants to go first? Sandy.
Yeah, this is a great topic because I'm actually right here. The past 2 weeks I have been in fight mode, and the past 2 days I had a situation happen, and I could just start getting squirrely, and I feel myself going back to that struggle mode. And I've been thinking a lot. I haven't thought about it like you phrased it though, with these 3 adjectives like that. But how I have thought of it is just me falling back into those. So these basically can also be habits. I think I'm very used to being in struggle mode and settle mode. So fight mode almost feels foreign. Feels good, like you explained, but it does feel foreign. So I need to feel that fight mode a lot more regular. So yes. I really appreciate this topic.
Yeah, my pleasure, Sandy. Think about this idea. You've struggled and you've settled a lot.
Yeah.
Friend, it's familiar. Guess what? You got a new friend on the block. It's called fight. And the more time you hang out with fight, the friendlier it's going to be for you, right? And the thing about settling and struggling to me is that you don't get the reward on the other side because you don't earn it. You sort of just earn complacency and just status quo and But when you're fighting, you get past that fight where you've said, and for me, when I have that moment of decision, and literally, I think that our health is won in a fraction of a second where we choose to go, oh, I could have that, and we go, no, I'm not going to do that. And that's where it lives. That's where the magic lives, is that one little, it could go either way, and sometimes you go, oh, I'll get back to it tomorrow. And then after that comes, oh, I'm struggling. And you talk to your coach that week, yeah, I struggled this week, right? And it's if you get really clear on that minute space of time, and you go, maybe you'll hear my voice in your head, and you're going to go, I could struggle or I could fight. I'm going to fight, right? And you just did that, and like 2 or 3 minutes later, that pressure of the struggle and that thing is going to evaporate. It's very, very intense, but it's short-lived. It's got no staying power. And that feel of that fight, man, you're going to be like, I did that. I earned that. That's right. What's up? Call your coach. Yeah. Fought this week. Earned it. What's up? 2 pounds? Bring it. Right?
Right. And Tina, too, I relate to what you said earlier, too, because the program has absolutely changed my life. I'm 140 pounds lighter than my heaviest weight, but I still have a little ways to go, and I'm comfortable because I feel great. So let's fight for that goal weight.
Right. What's up, Sandy? Fighting Sandy. Gonna be Sandy fighting Siebert. That's right. Yeah, and again, remember, you can get into this mindset where you can just choose to beat yourself up with those settling gloves, right? So this process doesn't work in reverse. You can't go back and say, I wish I fought. Right? This is a forward thinking. It's about the next decision that you're about to make that I guarantee is coming. If you struggle when you get home, like you, Tina, if you struggle when you get home from a long day, guess what? I guarantee it's going to happen again tomorrow. You're going to have the day that looks almost the same. temperature may be a little different. You might be wearing different clothes, but it's going to look about the same, right? And you're going to get home and you're going to go, what am I going to do, right? So I know tomorrow's coming. I've seen it before, right? And so it's almost like you're premeditating tomorrow. Yeah, when I feel that way, I'm going to fight for that. That's right. I'm gonna remember that. I'm just gonna fight. We're gonna get a fighting day. You want to comment there, Tina?
Yeah. Every day when I'm driving home, I say, "Oh gosh, it's a beautiful day. I live in San Diego. I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna just put on my sneakers and go out and hit the road." And then I get in, and I get comfortable. I get home. I'm like, I just get in this comfort zone, and then I think, okay, I'll go out in a few minutes, and then I don't. So every day it's a struggle on the way home, and I settle when I get in. So now that you're in my head, I'm gonna say fight tomorrow. So I did my run at lunch. That actually helps.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think I might do that more often because now, you know I did it. I don't have to have that struggle with myself when I get home today. But I think I'm going to say fight tomorrow.
Here's a suggestion, Tina. Pattern disruption is really important.
Mm-hmm.
And so do you wear different shoes during working than you do when you're walking?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So put your shoes in the car.
Yeah.
Right. Set them right there on your seat. So when you come in, before you start your car, you put on your walking shoes. Just put them on. And you drive home when you're like, well, I've got my walking shoes on already. I might as well go for a walk, even if it's just to get the mail.
Yeah.
And probably as soon as you start walking, your feet are going to go, well, I might as well just keep walking for a little while. Right?
Yeah.
So get that, because if you go in the house, it's done.
Yes.
You've got too much routine to break it once you're in the house. So you got to do that pattern rupture. You got to change it, and your mind's got to go, oh, wait a minute. I'm driving home with my walking shoes on. I'm going to fight for that. I'm going to walk. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Practical, basic stuff. Anybody else want to toss this around a little bit? We've got a couple more minutes. I'd really love to hear from you. How about you, Joyce? I could see it.
Going for the button? No.
Yeah.
Well, I've been on this about 7 months, and I've lost a goodly amount of weight, but I've got another 100 to go. And this last week was fight, all in my head. And I settled too many times.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm whining to my health coach yesterday. And I'm all better today, but oh my God, this is good. This is good stuff. I took notes. I had a little sticky. Now I've got them all stuck together. I'm taking them to a Bible study later, and we're going to talk about this.
Oh, fun.
So this is awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You know, Joyce, thank you for those words. Sometimes I have these ideas in my head, and I just don't know. So I just say them, and if you get value, great. So I'm glad you're getting value of this. And I know that you can do this, and I know that it's also a muscle that you have to exercise. I call them my brain biceps, right? You got these biceps, and you can exercise those, but you got brain biceps, and you have to exercise the fight, and it's going to get stronger and stronger and stronger, right? There's no reason to settle. You don't have to. You can live in that body that you want. You build it. You fight for it.
And it's something that you earned. That's great.
Earned it.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Well,
Over and out.
Super. Thank you guys for your participation. I hope this speaks to you. I hope when it counts, you in that moment of like it could go either way, that you're like, I'm not gonna fight. I'm just gonna try it on for size. Fighting might feel pretty good. And you get out there and you fight for it, because if you keep fighting for you and good things, you get to experience those deeper desires of those things that really matter to you. And man, why not? We got this time on planet Earth, and we got these things that we desire to do. So get out our magic lasso, Wonder Woman lasso, and let's grab onto those desires and let them pull, and let's fight our way to our deepest desires. So thank you all for your attention. It's been a pleasure. I thank you to Shirley. She actually had me fill in for her tonight, and I love being substitute on the Hats to Health call. So thank you all for your attention. Thank you for your participation, and get out there and fight for the things that you want. Take care, everybody.
The preceding audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some Take Shape for Life health coaches or clients. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to healthy living and weight loss will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a physician before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Take Shape for Life team.